In 1959, a Las Vegas casino owner realized he lost money on every plate of prime rib he served. He kept serving it anyway. That $1.49 dinner wasn't the product. You were. Number 14 on this list cost less than a pack of cigarettes and fed you like a king. Number 3 was so cheap that critics accused the casino of lying about the price. For 50 years, Vegas ran the best food deal in America, and most people never understood why. Hit that subscribe button, and let's count down the 25 dirt-cheap buffet meals that made luxury restaurants look like a scam. Number 25, the 99-cent shrimp cocktail. Downtown at the Golden Gate, this little tulip glass of chilled shrimp swimming in cocktail sauce became the most famous cheap meal in the history of the city. It launched in 1959, and for decades the price barely moved. 99 cents got you a mound of small bay shrimp piled over a bed of crushed ice, a wedge of lemon, and sauce with enough horseradish to clear your sinuses. Tourists lined up around the block. The casino sold thousands a day and lost money on every single one, and they did not care, because a person eating a 99-cent shrimp cocktail was a person standing 3 feet from a slot machine. A steakhouse 2 blocks off the strip would charge you $14 for the same thing plated on white linen. Same shrimp, same sauce. The only difference was the tablecloth and the markup. The Golden Gate finally raised the price and eventually retired it, and grown men wrote it up like a funeral. Number 24, the graveyard steak and eggs. Between midnight and dawn, when the tourists were either gambling or unconscious, Vegas kitchens ran a special that no restaurant in America could touch. A ribeye or a New York strip, 2 eggs cooked any way you liked, hash browns, and toast, all for $1.99, sometimes $2.99. The Vegas World, the Westward Ho, the old downtown joints all ran versions of it. The steak was not aged prime beef, but it was a real steak, seared on a flat-top griddle, served sizzling at 3 in the morning by a waitress who had seen everything. You ate it under fluorescent light next to a man still wearing his lucky hat from a table game that had turned on him. A diner back home charged $9 for steak and eggs, and used a cut half this size. The casino was betting you would stumble back to the tables full and loose. It usually worked. Number 23, the bottomless sourdough. Before you ever reached a carving station, the Vegas buffet handed you something most fine dining rooms treated like a privilege: bread. Endless, warm, free bread. Baskets of sourdough rolls with the crackling crust that only comes from real fermentation. Soft rye, cottony white dinner rolls, and little foil-wrapped pats of butter you could take by the handful. There was no charge, no limit, no waiter counting how many you took. You could build an entire meal out of bread and butter alone, and plenty of budget travelers did exactly that. A white tablecloth restaurant charged you for the bread service or made you feel cheap for asking for more. The buffet just kept refilling the basket. That bread was baked fresh in the casino's own ovens, sometimes better than anything the attached steakhouse served, and it cost you nothing but the walk back to the table. Number 22, the prime rib special. This is the meal that built the legend. In the 1950s and 1960s, a full prime rib dinner, a thick pink slab of slow roasted beef with a baked potato and vegetables, went for as little as $1.49. As the decades passed, the price crept up to $5.95, then $8.95. But the deal never stopped being absurd. The Sahara, the Frontier, Sam's Town, and a dozen others ran prime rib specials that undercut every steakhouse in the country. The beef was roasted overnight in low ovens, wrapped in rock salt, and carved to order under a heat lamp by a man in a paper hat. It came pink and tender with a rim of rendered fat and a puddle of au jus. A steakhouse on the same strip charged $40 for a smaller cut. The casino served theirs at a loss on purpose because a satisfied gambler is a generous gambler. Number 21. All-you-can-eat crab legs. For one flat price, usually somewhere between $8 and $15, the seafood buffet turned you loose on a mountain of snow crab. Bright orange clusters piled high over shaved ice, tongs sitting in a metal tray, a little dish of drawn butter waiting nearby. You could go back 6 times, 10 times. The staff did not blink. Men loosened their belts and treated it as a personal challenge, cracking legs with metal cutters until the table looked like a crime scene of empty shells. A seafood restaurant would charge you $50 for a single crab dinner and give you 1 cluster. The buffet let you eat until you physically could not continue. The casinos bought crab by the ton and priced it as bait. Nobody who ate 2 pounds of crab legs for $12 ever felt like a sucker. They felt like they had gotten away with something. Number 20. The Midnight Buffet. This was theater as much as food. Around 11 at night, the casinos rolled out an entirely separate spread. Ice sculptures dripping under warm lights, whole poached salmon laid out on mirrors, carved fruit, shrimp fanned around silver bowls, and dessert stacked like a wedding display. It ran a few dollars. Sometimes it was comped entirely if you had been playing. The whole point was spectacle, to make a working-class tourist feel like a high roller for the price of a movie ticket. You filled a plate with peeled shrimp and roast beef and cheesecake at midnight, surrounded by red velvet and chandeliers. A hotel restaurant would have charged you $100 to feel that fancy. The Midnight Buffet handed it to you for the cost of loose change and the willingness to walk past the craps tables on your way in. Number 19. The made-to-order omelet. At the morning buffet, past the trays of scrambled eggs and bacon, there was always a cook standing over a row of hot pans, and he would make you an omelet exactly how you wanted it, right in front of you, for free. Ham, cheese, peppers, onions, mushrooms, whatever was in the little metal bins. He would pour the eggs, fold them over the fillings, slide the omelet onto your plate, and start the next one before you had walked away. There was no extra charge, no upcharge for add-ins, no limit on how many you could order. A brunch spot back home charged $14 for a 3-egg omelet and made you wait 40 minutes. The buffet cook made you 2 in the time it took to pour a coffee. It was the single clearest example of the whole Vegas trick. Restaurant service, restaurant quality, buffet price. First pattern break. Here is the thing nobody explained to you at the door. None of this food was ever supposed to make money. The Las Vegas buffet was invented as a loss leader, a deliberate money-losing bribe designed to keep you inside the building. In 1946, a publicist named Herb McDonald at the El Rancho Vegas needed a way to keep late-night gamblers from wandering off to find food. So he set out a spread of cold cuts and cheese for $1 and called it the Buckaroo Buffet. It worked so well that every casino in town copied it within a few years. The math was simple and ruthless. A man who leaves to find dinner might not come back. A man who eats prime rib for $1.49 stays, and stays fed, and stays gambling. The food was cheap because the food was never the business. You were the business. Every plate was an investment in your continued presence at the table, and the house always got its money back and then some. Number 18. Peel and eat shrimp by the pound. Separate from the fancy cocktail, the buffet seafood station kept a bottomless trough of chilled peel and eat shrimp buried in ice, and you could pile your plate as high as gravity allowed. Cold, snappy, faintly sweet, with cocktail sauce and lemon on the side. Regulars had a system. They would fill a plate with nothing but shrimp, peel the whole mound into a napkin, and eat them one after another like popcorn. A restaurant appetizer of 6 shrimp cost $12. The buffet gave you 60 for the price of admission, and if you finished them, you walked back and got 60 more. Casinos bought shrimp in 50-pound cases and treated it as an amenity, like the free parking and the free drinks. The luxury seafood tower at the steakhouse upstairs was the exact same product, arranged prettier and priced at a robbery. Number 17. The chow mein station. Every good Vegas buffet had an Asian corner, and it was often the best-kept secret in the room. Chow mein, fried rice, egg rolls, sweet and sour pork, and a vat of wonton soup, all made in volume by cooks who actually knew what they were doing, because Vegas kitchens have always been staffed by serious talent working the line. You could load a plate with lo mein and orange chicken and pot stickers for the same flat price as everything else. The noodles were slick with soy and studded with bean sprouts, and the egg rolls crackled when you bit them. A sit-down Chinese restaurant on the Strip charged $18 for a single entree of the same dish. The buffet let you sample 8 of them in one trip. Nobody came to Vegas for the chow mein, which is exactly why the people who found it felt like they had discovered treasure. Number 16. Buffet fried chicken. Golden, crackling, piled in a heated well, and refilled constantly. Buffet fried chicken was one of those dishes that had no business being as good as it was. The casinos went through so much of it that it never sat long enough to go dry. Thighs and drumsticks and breasts with a craggy seasoned crust, hot and greasy in the best way, sitting right next to the mashed potatoes and the gravy boat and the collard greens. You could take 4 pieces and go back for 4 more. A southern restaurant charged $16 for a 3-piece plate. The buffet gave you the whole bird if you wanted it, plus the sides, plus dessert, for less than the restaurant's appetizer. Casino food volume worked in your favor. When a kitchen fries 1,000 pieces of chicken a day, the quality holds because nothing has time to sit under a lamp and die. Number 15. The carving station. There was always a man in whites standing behind a heat lamp with a long knife and a haunch of something, and he was the most popular person in the room. Roast beef, honey glazed ham, roast turkey, sometimes leg of lamb, carved to order, as thick or thin as you asked, as many slices as you wanted. He would fan 3 pieces of rare roast beef across your plate and ladle just over the top without a word about portion size. A restaurant would have charged you $30 for that plate of roast beef and given you 2 slices. The carver just kept slicing. He was the human symbol of the entire Vegas food philosophy. A professional cook handing you restaurant-quality meat for free, over and over, all night, because the house wanted you happy and heavy and unwilling to leave the property. Number 14. The 49-cent hot dog. Not technically a buffet, but too legendary to leave out. Casinos ran loss leader snack bars where a hot dog cost less than a phone call. Sometimes 49 cents, sometimes 99. Sometimes bundled with a beer or a shrimp cocktail into a deal that made no financial sense. A fat all-beef dog in a steamed bun with mustard, onions, and relish, handed to you at a counter tucked between the slots. You could feed yourself for under $1 in a city that supposedly separated fools from their money. The point was always the same. Keep the gambler fed, keep the gambler in the seat. A hotel room service hot dog cost $18 plus a service charge plus a delivery fee. The casino snack bar sold you the identical dog for pocket change because the casino did not want your dinner money. It wanted the rest of it. Second pattern break. Here is what makes the whole thing almost hard to believe. The luxury restaurants and the loss leader buffets often ran out of the same kitchen. The prime rib carved for $1.49 at the buffet and the prime rib plated for $40 at the steakhouse upstairs frequently came off the same slab of beef, cooked by the same crew, in the same building. The difference in price was not the food, it was the theater. Fine dining sold you tablecloths, dim lighting, a wine list, and a waiter who called you sir. The buffet stripped all of that away and sold you the food naked, at cost or below, and let you serve yourself. Once you understood that the meat was identical, the $40 dinner started to feel less like a splurge and more like a con. You were not paying for better beef. You were paying for the performance of luxury, and Vegas had already proven, one steam tray at a time, that the performance was the only thing you could skip. Number 13. Ellis Island's off-menu steak. Just off the strip, a locals casino called Ellis Island ran a steak special that was not printed on any menu for years. A complete dinner of a 10-ounce sirloin, salad, vegetable, potato, and a slice of bread for around $7 or $10. You had to know to ask for it. The steak came off a real grill with real char, a full-sized cut, not a scrap. Word spread by whisper among cab drivers, dealers, and off-shift cooks who knew where the real value was. The whole meal cost less than a single appetizer at the celebrity steakhouses a quarter-mile away. Ellis Island did not advertise because it did not need to. The people who mattered already knew. It became a pilgrimage for anyone who understood that the best deal in Vegas was almost never the one with the biggest sign out front. Number 12. The holiday carving spread. On Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter, the Vegas buffet transformed into a groaning table that would have humbled a country club. Whole roasted turkeys, spiral hams glistening with glaze, prime rib, candied yams, stuffing, cranberry, green bean casserole, and a dessert wall that went on for yards. The price barely moved, maybe $15 or $20. For a holiday feast that would have cost a family $200 to cook at home and $400 to eat at a restaurant. Widows, retirees, and off-shift casino workers filled those rooms every holiday. People who had nowhere else to go and no one to cook for, and they ate like royalty for the price of a paperback. A hotel holiday brunch elsewhere in the country ran $75 a head. In Vegas, the same feast fed you and left change in your pocket, because the house wanted you there on the holidays, most of all. Number 11. Soft serve. Endless. Tucked in the dessert corner was a chrome soft serve machine with 2 levers, vanilla and chocolate, and a stack of cones and bowls beside it. And it was free, unlimited, and entirely yours to abuse. Kids built towering swirls. Adults pretended the ice cream was for the kids. You could pull the lever as many times as you wanted, mix the vanilla and chocolate into a twist, and bury it in the sprinkles and chocolate sauce and crushed cookies at the topping bar. An ice cream shop charged $6 for a single scoop. The buffet handed you a machine and walked away. It was a small thing, but it captured the whole spirit of the place. Abundance without judgment. In a city built to take your money, the soft serve machine asked for nothing. And something about pulling that lever for the 4th time felt like getting one over on the house. Number 10. The Champagne Sunday Brunch. Sunday morning, the buffet added a detail that turned a cheap meal into an occasion. Bottomless sparkling wine. For a few dollars more than the regular price, sometimes just built into it, you got a glass that never emptied, refilled by a roaming server, while you worked through eggs Benedict, made-to-order omelets, smoked salmon, prime rib, and a dessert table. People dressed up for it. Couples celebrated anniversaries at buffet prices and felt fancy doing it. A champagne brunch at a proper restaurant ran $50 or $60 a person and rationed the pours. The Vegas buffet kept your glass full and your plate refillable and let you sit there for 2 hours pretending you were somebody. The wine was not vintage, but at 10 in the morning with a plate of shrimp and a bottomless glass, nobody was checking the label. Third pattern break. Here is the part that stings. Almost all of it is gone now. The Great Vegas Buffet, the loss leader miracle that fed working people like kings for 60 years, has been quietly strangled to death. The corporate takeover of the Strip changed the math. The new owners looked at the buffets and saw not a bribe to keep gamblers happy, but a line item losing money, and they wanted every square foot to earn. The Celebrity Chef restaurant, charging real prices for real profit, replaced the carving station. Then the pandemic shut the buffets down entirely, and most of them never reopened. The 99-cent shrimp cocktail is a memory. The dollar prime rib is a legend told by old-timers. What replaced it is a Strip where a plate of food costs what it costs everywhere else, plus a resort fee, plus a service charge, plus the privilege of being there. The deal is dead. The city that once fed you for free now charges for the ice water. Number 9. Bread pudding and the dessert wall. Past the soft serve was the real spectacle, an entire wall of desserts, and the crown jewel was almost always the bread pudding, warm, custardy, studded with raisins, sitting in a chafing dish under a ladle of whiskey sauce or vanilla cream. Beside it, cheesecake, chocolate mousse, pie by the wedge, Jell-O in 5 colors, cookies, brownies, and a chocolate fountain with skewers of fruit. All of it free, all of it unlimited. You did not choose a dessert. You took 6 and made a plate. A restaurant charged $12 for a single slice of that cheesecake. The buffet let you sample the entire pastry case. The bread pudding especially was a sleeper, a humble Depression-era dessert made from stale bread, elevated by casino cooks into something that could headline the menu at a place charging 4 times as much. Number 8. The Seafood Friday Spread. Some buffets built their whole reputation on one night, and Friday seafood was the crown. Snow crab, peel and eat shrimp, oysters on the half shell, smoked salmon, mussels, clams, crawfish in season, and a raw bar manned by a cook shucking to order. For a flat price in the teens or low 20s, you had access to a spread that would have run $200 at a coastal seafood house. People planned their trips around it. They skipped lunch to make room. The Rio's Village Seafood Buffet became so famous that tourists booked the hotel just to eat there. A seafood tower at a fine dining restaurant, the exact same crab and shrimp and oysters, cost a small fortune and fed 2 people once. The buffet fed you until you surrendered, refilled the ice trays in front of you, and never once suggested you had taken enough. Number 7. The Belgian Waffle Station. Morning buffets had a second cook working a bank of waffle irons, and he would pour the batter, close the lid, and hand you a hot, crisp Belgian waffle in deep golden squares, built to hold syrup and butter and a mountain of strawberries and whipped cream from the topping bar. Free, made fresh, as many as you wanted. Kids loved watching the little timer light turn green. A breakfast place charged you $15 for a plate of waffles and rushed you out for the next table. The buffet cook made you a fresh one every time you came back and never once looked at his watch. It was the same story as the omelet station, a trained cook making a hot, made-to-order dish for free all morning, because the whole design of the place was to make you feel taken care of while your money slowly migrated toward the pit. Number 6. The Taco Bar. The Mexican station was where the buffet quietly outclassed restaurants that charged triple. A steam table of seasoned ground beef and shredded chicken, warm tortillas, refried beans, Spanish rice, and a topping spread of cheese, lettuce, pico, guacamole, sour cream, and jalapenos so you could build your own tacos exactly the way you wanted, as many as your plate would hold. Some casinos ran a fresh salsa and a guy pressing tortillas by hand. A sit-down Mexican restaurant charged you $16 for 3 tacos. The buffet let you build a dozen and go back for more. Vegas has always had a deep bench of Mexican cooks working its kitchens, and the buffet taco bar was often better than the tourist trap cantinas, charging real money on the strip, hidden in plain sight, for the price of the same admission that got you the crab legs and the prime rib. 4th pattern break. Understand what the buffet really was, and you understand why people mourn it. It was the most democratic room in America. Inside those walls, a bus driver and a millionaire paid the same price and ate off the same trays. A retiree on a fixed income sat next to a bachelor party, and both of them piled their plates as high as they wanted. And nobody was judged, nobody was rushed, and nobody was told they had reached their limit. In a country that increasingly charges you for every ounce of comfort, the Vegas buffet was a place where, for one flat price, abundance belonged to everyone equally. That was never the point for the casinos, of course. The point was the slot machine 40 feet away. But the accidental result was something close to generosity, a place where a working family could eat like the rich for an afternoon. And that is exactly the thing the New Vegas decided it could no longer afford to give away. Number 5. Biscuits and gravy. Endless. The morning buffet always had a chafing dish of split buttermilk biscuits and a vat of sausage gravy, thick, peppery, studded with crumbled pork, and you could ladle as much as you wanted, over as many biscuits as you could carry. It was the cheapest, most filling breakfast in the building, and for a lot of people, it was the whole meal. A plate of biscuits and gravy at a diner ran $10. The buffet folded it into the flat price alongside the bacon, the eggs, the waffles, the omelet station, and the fruit. The gravy was made in the back by a cook who had made it 1,000 times, and it stuck to your ribs the way the Depression-era version was designed to. It was proof that the buffet was not only about crab legs and prime rib. Even the humblest food in the room was a steal. Number 4. The modern mega buffet. Before the fall, Vegas made one last great push, and the Bacchanal at Caesars set the new standard. This was not the old steam tray spread. This was a food hall of live-action stations, hand-carved meats, fresh sushi, wood-fired pizza, a raw bar, dim sum, gelato, and a dessert room that looked like a bakery, with more than 500 dishes rotating through the day. Yes, the price climbed into the 40s and beyond, but for that one flat number, you had access to a spread that would have cost hundreds if you ordered each dish a la carte at the restaurants that inspired them. It was the buffet's final argument, the last time the format proved it could still humble a fine dining bill. For a while before the cuts came, the mega buffet showed what the old idea could become when a casino still believed feeding you well was worth the cost. Number 3. Bottomless mimosas. The details so cheap it seemed like a mistake. Some brunch buffets bundled unlimited mimosas into the price, or added them for a token few dollars, and the servers came around with pitchers of orange juice and sparkling wine, and topped you off before you could ask. 2 hours of bottomless mimosas at a trendy brunch spot anywhere else in America cost $30 or $40 on top of the food. In Vegas, it was practically thrown in. Critics genuinely accused casinos of undercharging, of running the drinks at a loss so blatant it had to be a trick. And it was, the oldest trick in the book. A loose, happy, mildly buzzed brunch guest wanders out of the dining room and straight onto the casino floor with a warm glow and a weakened grip on the concept of money. The mimosas were free because they worked. The house always knew exactly what it was doing. Number 2. The all-you-can-eat prime rib. Higher on the list than the prime rib special, because this was its final, unbeatable form. A carving station dedicated to prime rib, and you could go back as many times as you wanted. A slice, then another slice, then a whole second plate, pink and tender with a crust of salt and fat, just ladled over the top, and a carver who never once suggested you had reached your limit. For a flat price in the teens, you could eat more prime rib in one sitting than a steakhouse would sell you in 3 visits at $40 a plate. Men made it their entire strategy, skipping every other station, eating nothing but slice after slice of rib roast until they physically could not stand. The steakhouse across the casino floor sold the same cut from the same supplier for 10 times the price. The buffet just kept carving. That was the whole scam, laid bare on a plate. Number 1. The buffet itself. At the top of this list is not a single dish, but the entire impossible institution, the all-you-can-eat Vegas buffet as it existed at its peak. One flat price, often under $15, bought you unlimited access to a room containing crab legs, prime rib, shrimp, made-to-order omelets, a carving station, fried chicken, Mexican, Chinese, seafood, a champagne pour, and a wall of dessert, all of it refilled endlessly, all of it served without judgment, without limits, without rushing you out. It was invented in 1946 as a trick to keep gamblers off the sidewalk, and it accidentally became the greatest value in American dining, a place where anyone, regardless of what they had in their wallet, could sit down and eat like a king. No restaurant on earth could compete, because no restaurant was trying to lose money on your dinner. The casino was, gladly, for 60 years, and we were too busy eating to notice we were the ones being served up. Here's the challenge. If you ever ate one of these, tell me which. The 99-cent shrimp cocktail, the dollar prime rib, the graveyard steak and eggs. Tell me which casino, which year, and whether it was as good as I'm making it sound. Because the people who lived it are the only ones who really know. Drop it in the comments. I want to see whether the crab legs get more love than the prime rib, and whether anyone out there still remembers what it felt like to eat like a king for the price of a paperback, back when Vegas still wanted to feed you.